Hey guys, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Billy Williams. We will start here in a couple of minutes. Going to let all you guys get logged in. Make sure that you're all good. Appreciate you guys being here. I was going to have some music playing, like, my favorite winning song or something. I guess I still can do that. Hold on. I'll just put it in the background. Let's see what we got here. Melissa, can you guess what I'm going to play?
I forgot the name of the song.
All I do is no matter what. Got money on my mind. I can never get enough. Make every time I step up in the building, everybody go up. And they stay there. And they stay there. And they stay there.
That's my jam. I do that. I listen to this song when I'm getting ready to play golf. I listen to this song when I'm getting ready to close a deal. I listen to this song when I'm getting ready to do whatever. DJ Khaled, that's my boy. He did his thing on that. He did his thing. Okay. All right. I think we should go ahead and get started. What do you guys think?
Let's go.
Team? All right. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. And all right, let's start recording. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. This is the 2-day Fix My Insurance Agency workshop. The whole purpose of this workshop is to get rid of all the BS and all the fluff and all the crap that's out there, that all the stage heroes and all of the gurus and all of the people are talking about. Reality is you got to work to run an insurance agency. Pure and simple. You got to work. It's not hard work, and sometimes it's not simple, but it is always consistent. There's not a lot of things that we do in the insurance agency that are surprising. I mean, of course, every situation there's some surprises, but there just aren't a lot of things that we do that are surprising. So if you come into work every damn day and you're surprised, you're doing something wrong. Okay, you're doing something wrong. The other thing is, we are arsonists in the insurance agency. Yes, arsonists. We set fires. And then we spend all day putting out those fires and spend the next day talking about all the fires. But we created the fires. We created them because we don't have processes. We're not using our technology effectively. We're not doing all those things that we're supposed to do. So we end up just having all of these fires running around. These 2 days, we're going to put out those fires, and we're going to make sure that you understand exactly what needs to happen. I want to thank our sponsors and our trainers. We got HawkSoft here, and oh, here's the other thing. For those of you that this is your first time, this is not a vendor fair. There are not 30 vendors or 40 vendors for you to figure out. Guys, I picked who I thought was the best of the best, and we're going to show you our way. Now, you can take that if you use a different agency management system, different programs, different tools. You can take those and modify them for you. But I'm going to show you one way so that you can see it done right, and then you can modify it for you. But I don't want you to have to figure out 30 different vendors to do stuff. So that's why I picked the best of the best for this training. All right. So I've got some of my folks on. They're going to have a 10-minute presentation, but I do want them to take a couple of seconds here and just kind of introduce themselves, everyone that's here. Let's start with you, David.
Hey, everybody. My name's David Carothers. I am the principal of Florida Risk Partners in Tampa, Florida, and the founder of Killing Commercial Insurance, a sales training ecosystem online for middle market commercial producers, as well as the co-host of the Power Producers podcast.
Okay, which I've never been on, by the way, David.
I'm ready when you are, Billy.
Got you.
You have an open invite.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And we also have Danielle Driscoll from GloveBox. Danielle.
Hey everyone, good morning. Thank you for being here. I am your GloveBox guru. So I will do a GloveBox demo for you today or in the future. GloveBox is your client experience platform, both web-based and your app as well. You also might hear from Andy Mathison, possibly in the chat at some point today too. So
perfect. Appreciate that. Thank you. We have Marble Box here. We actually have a couple of folks from Marble Box here. So Marble Box, go ahead and introduce yourself for a couple of seconds. You're going to get your 10 minutes later on, but I just want you to introduce yourself now, please.
Thank you, Billy. Hi, everybody. This is Art from Marble Box. We are an organization that helps independent insurance agencies with their back office service tasks by providing well-trained virtual assistants. We'll be happy to, deep dive into the details when I get my 10 minutes or answer any questions all of you have further down the line. Thank you so much.
No problem. And you also have your breakout session tonight.
I do.
Good, good. All right, who else is here from Marble Box?
Loretta was supposed to join from Marble Box. I think she will be here tomorrow. Today it's just me.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Appreciate that. And then we have the Age Lead Store. We've got Bill Rice and we got Troy. So Bill, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Good.
Troy here.
Tell us a little bit about you and Age Lead Store, please.
All right, I'm going to let Troy tell us a little bit about Age Lead Store, but as far as myself, I do a lot of the sales training for our Age Lead Store clients and the marketing efforts as well. But Troy can tell you about the kind of the core service offering there.
Perfect. Go ahead, Troy.
We have about 30,000 insurance agents signed up. We offer auto insurance, home insurance, life insurance, health insurance, and Medicare supplement leads. For the last 21 years, we've been doing solely age leads, so it's been a while. And known Billy for quite a while.
Yep.
And looking forward to this workshop.
Good. Thank you, Troy. Appreciate you being here. Okay. Now we're gonna let's see. Mika's here too, right? Mika, you here?
She is on. She's just kind of in the background though. She supports us on the marketing side. Yeah.
Gotcha. And us being who? Mika supports who?
Oh, I apologize. Age Lead Store.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you so much. All right. And so now I got my stalwarts. These are my folks that are always supporting what we do, always driving us forward, which I absolutely love. So we're gonna start with Steve and finish with Linda. So next is Stephen Moore from Lightspeed Voice.
Hey everybody, Steve Moore with Lightspeed Voice. Run sales and marketing over here. We have an awesome VoIP phone system with some built-in sales automation. Really focused on the insurance space. We've got about 4,000 agencies across the country that use and love us for our support and integrations. Those are the two things that set us apart. Looking forward to the next couple days. And like I said, with the others, we'll be doing a demo, have a little breakout session tonight, and hope you can learn as much as you can.
Absolutely. And Linda Hawksaw.
Hey everybody, good morning. It's an honor to be with you today and be one of the sponsors and help Billy out here today. I am the Senior Territory Sales Manager at Hawksoft. Been at Hawksoft for 14 years, but the good thing is I was on your side of the desk for 17 years, managing an agency and running an agency. Hawksoft has been in doing agency technology now for over 27 years, and I look forward to giving you some more details on that management system during my time later today.
Excellent. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into our training here. I'm not a fluff guy. On all of your reminders, on all of your, when you first signed up, your confirmation, all of that, I sent out a link and it asks you to complete your agency questionnaire. I maybe got 5. So I know you guys are not completing your agency questionnaire. Melissa, can you take the link to the agency questionnaire? It's on Slack. Can you take that link and put it inside of the chat box so that everyone will have access to that, as well as the link to the spreadsheet? I think that's out there. I think I put the spreadsheet. I don't know. Whatever links are in Slack, Melissa, can you make sure that they're in the chat box as well?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and share.
And guys, the purpose of the questionnaire was so you would get an understanding of your agency. What's our revenue? What are we doing for our carriers? What technology are we using? So the questionnaire doesn't come to me, it's for you, but make sure you're filling that out. Next, your vendor breakout session. Melissa put together a sheet that shows all of the breakout sessions, all of the Zoom meetings or whatever meetings they're using. And Melissa's going to put that in the chat box as well. So you guys will have that, and you'll know who the vendor breakout sessions are. Okay. Let's open up with some poll questions to make sure that you guys can actually hear and see what the heck we're talking about, right? So let's go here with our first poll question, which is, can you clearly see and hear the session? Can you clearly see and hear the session? 100% of you say, yes, I can see and hear the session. So perfect. Next poll question. Is this your first Inspire Nation online workshop? Is this your first Inspire a Nation online workshop? 63% of you say, yes, this is my first Inspire Nation workshop. Well, we appreciate you guys being here. And our goal is to make sure that you are maxed out when it comes to learning what to do. I have this saying, this thing that I do. I'm not a perfectionist, I'm a completionist, meaning I get shit done. It may not always be perfect. It may not always line up dress right dress. Like what, I'm retired Army, so I use terms like dress right dress and, squared away and all that stuff. It may not always be perfect, but it will always be complete and it will always be finished. And what I found, and I'm sure the vendors, the panelists can second this. If we just get our stuff done, good things happen. Things come about when good things happen. David, you want to comment on that? Because I know you're kind of in that same boat that I am. Everything ain't got to be perfect, but it's got to be done.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I say it all the time. Imperfect action supersedes perfect inaction any day of the week.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, guys, doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to get done. All right, let's go to our next poll question. Do you understand that you don't have to be here for every single session? You don't have to sit on this web meeting or this web training for 2 straight days, guys. Pick the session that best fits your role or best fits what you want to learn about and show up for that particular time. I'm going to stay on time. I'm going to make sure everything's on track, so you're good. If you're not sure what the agenda is, go to Fix My Insurance Agency, inspirenation.org, and the very first thing you're going to see when you scroll down past the discount code is the agenda. Click on the agenda. I'm going to follow the hours of the agenda, but you don't need to sit here for every single session. And 7% of you say, oh, I thought I had to attend every session. No, you don't. And 20% of you say, I never saw the agenda. It was on your on your reminder, and it was also part of your confirmation. But it's okay. We've got a backup for you. Just go to the Fix My Insurance Agency webpage and on inspirenation.org, and it's the first thing you'll see below the $10 million little icon there is the workshop agenda. Perfect. So let's close that and let's share the results with you. 81% of you said, yes, I selected the session I want to attend. Perfect. 14% said I never saw an agenda, and 5%, oh, I thought I had to be here for every session. So that's why we put that out there. All right. Last poll question before we go into some training is, did you complete the agency questionnaire prior to this session? Did you complete the agency questionnaire prior to this session? And your choices are, for those of you, again, I know I have hundreds of you on the phone, so let me make sure I'm clear with the information. Your choices are no, and I don't have a good excuse for not completing it. No, but I do have a good excuse. Curious what that good excuse is. Next choice is I started it, but I didn't have enough data to finish it. And guys, that's actually what we see the most when people don't finish it, is they just don't have the data. Linda, they don't have a system like Hawksoft that allows them to pull the reports and do all those amazing things. They just don't have that. So this is one of the main things that stops people. Your next choice is I finished it, and then I never saw anything about completing a questionnaire. So let's share the results. 24% say no, and I don't have a good excuse. Well, I appreciate you being honest, guys. 12% say no, but I do have a good excuse. 12% say I started it, but didn't have enough data to finish it. 41% of you say I finished it, and then 12% say I never saw anything about completing a questionnaire. Well, like I said, I explained where to go find it. Go to inspirenation.org, go to Fix My Insurance Agency page. It's right there at the top. You'll see a link that says, click here to see the agenda. It's 14 stations that we're going to go over today. All right, so let's go ahead and close these polls down, and let's get into some actual training here. So guys, there are 5 primary ways an insurance agency can increase revenue. One is new policy sales. Next is to increase coverage limits per policy, meaning you add towing, you add jewelry backup, you add a rider to something, but increase coverage limits per policy. Next is increase policies per customer. So you have auto, home, life, all those wonderful things, right? You have those there. Next is increase retention. Obviously, that's why we're in the insurance game. Let's be honest. We're in the insurance world for renewals, all right? So increase retention. And then if you're substandard, or if you're one of those agencies that charges fees, you can charge service fees. And in the substandard world, sometimes service fees make up more money than the actual premium that's coming in from the customer. But these are the 5 primary ways an insurance agency can increase revenue, which means everything in our system, everything that we talk about, everything that we do needs to focus on increasing revenue in these 5 ways, right? These 5 modules. Now, our number one job is to always take care of the customer. We have one job in insurance, one job. Offer the coverage that will best protect a customer's quality of life should they ever have to file a claim. That's our one job. It is not to find you the cheapest insurance. It is not to try to make you happy. It is not to avoid conversations that are uncomfortable. It's not to make you skip and dance out the door because everything was great. We have one job. Offer the coverage that will best protect a customer's quality of life should they ever have to file a claim. But we don't always do that job. And you know why we don't do that job? One word: emotion. Emotion. What's the number one enemy and roadblock to growing an insurance agency? Unmanaged emotions. So how do you manage your emotions? First, you have written agency standards so that everyone's operating the same, from the same baseline. You have established processes. When something's on a list, there's no emotion about it. Checklists help to manage emotions. You use your technology effectively. If you're using your technology right, you won't have to have a lot of emotion. Training and role play. I can train and role play the emotion out of you, right? If I train you enough, if I role play you enough, no matter what your weaknesses, your ill-gotten ways of your psychology and all that stuff, I can train that out of you, or at least minimize it if I train and role play. And then spot check and retrain. See, training you once doesn't do anything but introduce you. Training you twice is an orientation. Training you 3 times makes you start to understand it better. Training you 4 times, you start to pick out the pieces that are important. Training you 5 times, you now start to develop a relationship. So it takes 5 times of me training you before you even have the relationship with the process that I want you to have. But most people train you once, then they never spot check you, then they never retrain you. And that's not a good thing. So the number one enemy and roadblock to growing an insurance agency is unmanaged emotions, not mismanaged emotions. Mismanaged emotions means I've got you going in a direction that you don't need to go in. Unmanaged means I'm just letting you run wild. You're just doing whatever the hell you want to do, however you want to do it, and I'm not corralling any of that. So I want to bring our sponsors in, I want to bring our vendors in and let them talk about this piece with emotion, because I promise you, this is one of the things that they run into all the time. Let's go with Hawksoft. Linda, emotions. What are you running into when you see that?
Well, emotions I run into are the agencies who are more or less not as organized as they feel like they should be. They aren't utilizing their agency management system to its full extent. Some folks have agency management systems, they're using 20% of it. And if they really expanded, they're emotional, they would be much more relaxed, they could use their technology, they can use the interface that some agency managements have with other technologies such as GloveBox and RingCentral and the other wonderful vendors that are here today, and training. And some of the things I find during implementation, obviously I'm not working with the direct insureds, but I find in implementation, if agencies are really committed to their processes, they do very, very well. I've had agencies who have said, yeah, we need to go through training and we need to know how to run this, but we don't have time. We're too busy doing busy work in our agency. And I think overcoming some of those unmanaged emotions is key to a successful agency.
Gotcha. Bill, what are your thoughts on you from a marketing standpoint? What do you see?
Yeah, no, I think there's kind of two aspects of emotions that play into our clients, as it relates to leads. I mean, the first emotion that often comes to us, and a lot of times having a full pipeline will help, is just that stress of looking at that pipeline and it's empty, and sort of stretching for every single conversation to turn into a closed policy. By being able to figure out how to enlarge that database, give you some more at bats. Both on the training aspect, but also, getting you comfortable, but knowing that there are others behind that. So if you don't get this one, so I think that's an emotional aspect that we hear a lot from agents. It's just giving them some confidence that there's lots of opportunities in front of them, and they don't have to stretch and get stressed over every single one. I think the other one is kind of like if you've ever played sports, being able to sort of shake off the bad at bat, or maybe the bad play that you had or whatever. You're going to have a lot of those as you kind of work through your database. You're going to have those where you're going to be on big highs because you had a big win, you closed something, or you got further along with an individual. But there's going to be a lot of those, 80, 90% of those, we're going to have a bad experience. It didn't go the way you wanted to. The policy didn't close. They might even got a little angry with you. And so I think that's another aspect of just kind of checking those emotions, learning those skills.
Gotcha. All right, perfect. All right, let's go with Danielle. Did I ask you Danielle already? I don't think I did.
You did not.
Okay, Danielle, talk about emotions and what you guys are doing over there.
Yeah, so tacking on to what everyone else said, preparation is probably more than half the battle, right? It's really just going to build your confidence that you are prepared, agency-facing side and also client-facing side, just to help reduce some of the extra unneeded stress or work when it comes to your clients, and your clients are going to be prepared as well. So confidence all around for everyone, making sure you have a really good tech stack set up, both internal agency facing side and then also for your clients as well.
Gotcha. Art, I know this is a big deal in the virtual assistant world. That's why they come to you, because they're freaking the hell out to begin with. So Art, can you talk to us about the emotion and what you're seeing, and just have whatever words you want to use about it?
Yeah, so there are actually two aspects to this. One is what you touched upon. They're going through a lot of emotions in terms of when they talk to other agency owners who already use outsourcing and realize, whoa, my operational costs are really high. Are my team members then doing so many mundane tasks that they don't have to? As a result, will my revenues go up? But then the other side of emotions also is when an agency is talking to us and we talk to them about driving change management, how they have to explain to their staff about letting go of the tasks. Very often, emotions do come up where their staff says, hey, I have been servicing my own book for 15 years. I don't trust anybody else outside my agency or me doing the work with the level of perfection that I can, right? So the emotions bit of it comes in all the time. That is what leads to prospects reaching out to us sometimes, but that is also something that is a factor often which determines if the relationship with an agency will be successful or not. So it's a big deal.
If they can't control the emotion, then they won't be successful. That's just honest. It doesn't matter what it is. You guys know I'm a golfer. And one of the things I had to learn early in my golf, I've only been playing a couple of years, but I'm getting closer and closer to a single digit handicap as I play more every single damn day, as Steve will tell you. But as I get closer and closer, man, the psychology part of this, the emotional part of this, emotion lives in your hands when you play golf. Emotion lives in your hands. So if you don't trust your shot, if you're not sure about something, you will duff it. You will top it. You will hit a bad shot. That's just the way it works. So I mean, it's crap, but that's just the way it works. So Steve, can you talk about that a little bit, the emotions?
Absolutely. I think golf's a great analogy for it, as well as the business side. Business, you want the processes to be able to manage the emotion on both sides of the phone or desk, wherever you're at. And then golf, the same thing, right? You got to have that repeatable swing, take that out of the equation. So I think the overall message is processes cure a lot of the problems. And I think from us, we're in the VoIP phone business, right? Whereas there's a lot of insurance agencies, you're rarely talking to somebody that doesn't have what you're selling. So you always have to kind of overcome that emotional piece at the end where, hey, we like each other, we're going to do business, but now I've got to tell somebody else that we're breaking up, right? At the end of the day. Mm-hmm. So, you can't stop at the point of sale in both worlds. You got to take it past the finish line and manage that conversation with the losing party, and then even through the onboarding phase. So it's just critical. And again, processes are going to be key throughout the whole thing.
Gotcha. All right. So what can stop you from adding 10 million revenue to your insurance agency? Now, one of the things that's not on here, but I do want to bring it up, is number one, you just don't think in that denomination. And David, you remember this from our workshop a couple of years ago, and when I was first bringing out the 10 million program, and I was like, guys, the reason why we want to use 10 million revenue is because a lot of you think in hundreds. You think someone's rate going up $23 is the end of the world. Oh my God, their rate went up 4%. So I want to break you out of that mentality and say, look, why don't you base everything on 10 million revenue? We'll show you how many leads you need. We'll show you what you need revenue per sale. We'll show you all of that. So David, are you back with us? Did you log back in?
I'm back in. How do I sound?
You sound much better. Thank you. Yeah, people were sending in chat messages and everything saying they couldn't understand you.
Well, that's the limit of my technical ability, is logging out and logging back in. So I'm glad we got it.
Turn it on, turn it off, or slap it, right? That's how you fix stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, to your point, Billy, one of the things I talk about all the time is not just agency owners, but producers as well are tripping over $100 bills to go get their hands on singles. And It doesn't make any sense at all. We think so many times with a scarcity mindset instead of an abundance mindset, but we're always going to achieve at the level that we're willing to think, period, end of story.
Exactly. And if you think, like I say, a lot of agencies just never grow because, first of all, they hire people who have a very scarcity-based mentality. We either operate from in daily life. This is not just insurance. This is life. We operate from a place of abundance or from a place of scarcity. And when we operate from abundance, man, we're free flowing. Life is good. We're not stressed out. We just feel good about things because we have an abundance and we're not living on the edge. When you operate from scarcity, you're stressed out, you're freaking out, you're, all kind of stuff. And for us in the insurance industry, and I just had this podcast with Ryan Hanley where we talked about this. For us in the insurance industry, and I need all you guys, vendors, jump in. I think our abundance comes from our lead flow. When we have a lot of lead flow, we operate differently than when we only have a few leads, right? So let's kind of go around the room and talk about that, because I think that's really, really important, guys, when we're operating from a place of abundance versus a place of scarcity. So David, let's start back with you with the abundance versus scarcity.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the triggers that I always listen for when I'm talking with people, and, I consult with people on a variety of things outside of just commercial insurance sales, technology being one of them. I listen for people who ask me, how much is this going to cost me, right? Because what I want to hear is, how much is this going to make me? Period. We view so many things as expense lines in our agency that really should be viewed as investments. And I'm not a guy that's going to tell you that you shouldn't manage your expenses. I came from the grocery industry where we were begging people to spend $100 so we could net $1 in profit. So I'm very much about making sure you know your numbers, your income statement, your balance sheet, and that you have a budget and you're sticking to it. But when you write that budget so that you're removing the emotion from the process, you're intentionally telling your dollars where you want them to go. And when you're doing that, you need to be thinking about segregating the things that are expenses. Is payroll an investment or expense? It's actually an expense, and it's the number one controllable for most of us. But a CRM, is that an investment or an expense? Well, it depends on how you look at it. An investment person would say, how many bodies am I able to replace, or how much revenue am I able to generate, or how many E&O claims am I able to avoid by having a constant record? Whereas other people would say, yeah, I really don't want to spend X number of dollars a month for this because it just doesn't make sense. I don't have that right now. And the problem is you get caught in a death spiral of overanalyzing the cost of things instead of believing in yourself, believing in your team, believing in your processes, and making the leap to make the investment in the right things for your agency to get to the next level.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Art, can you talk about operating from abundance? You, especially it's the virtual assistant side, because you see all kind of agencies. Those operating from abundance and those operating from scarcity.
I mean, abundance and scarcity can be on many levels, right? Mm-hmm. One can be the availability of resources, which sometimes depends on the kind of market an agency is in. Sometimes in terms of how much money are they able to invest in their business. So abundance and scarcity work on various levels. Do they have the budget? If the budget is an abundance, so there are many different levels that this does apply to. And depending on the situation, I mean, it depends.
Right, but I guess my question to you is, when you have someone who comes to you who's operating from abundance and then someone operating from scarcity, what is their mentality like? How is that mentality different?
Okay. Somebody who is operating out of scarcity, when they come to us, they are more along the lines of, I need to save my business. My business absolutely needs this much breathing room to survive. And you guys act as a tool for us to enable that, right? Mm-hmm. And somebody who is operating out of abundance looks at us as a mechanism to scale their business even higher. They are not looking at such smaller margins since they have the abundance. They are looking to build something scalable, looking at probably 3x, 5x, 10x in the next few years, and looking at a partner who can enable them on that journey.
Excellent. Excellent. I appreciate that. Bill, same thing from you. What do you see when people come to you guys for scarce, and they're operating out of scarcity versus operating out of abundance?
Yeah, I think the big thing is really, a lot of times people have a sales quota or goal in mind, but they don't really break it down into the component parts or the assumptions that will kind of get them there. And so one of the things we talk about, particularly with leads, is let's start with the number of policies that you need, divided by, the percentage of the people that you talk to that turn into policies. And that little easy equation. So for instance, if I need 10 policies this month, I'm going to break my goal down into, hey, the average, if I talk to people, about 10% of them turn into a policy. So I just divide 10 by 10%, and I end up with, hey, I need to come up with 100 leads. If I talk to, people and about 20% of them turn into policies, I just take that 10 policies divided by 20%, I need 50 leads. So now I know exactly how many people I need to talk to, how many leads I need to come up with in order to hit that goal. So, really just taking that big number, whatever it is, and breaking it down into those components, that's going to get you there.
And we're actually going to do that here in Station 2, Hour 2. We're actually going to break the math numbers down. Actually, we're going to end it here in this session too. All right, so let's go with Linda. Linda, what do you see about people operating out of scarcity or operating out of abundance?
Okay. Well, scarcity I see is more of a mental thing. It's restricted thinking, small picture, not looking at the big picture. They're a little on the short-sighted side. From my point of view and doing sales at Hawksoft here, there's, like David mentioned, cost versus investment. I get agents who go, oh, this is going to cost me X number of dollars per month to have Hawksoft, or it's an investment. I tell people, if Hawksoft's not making money for you, you're not using it or you're using it incorrectly. And that should be any management system. I know agents, and I've come up against this many, many times. They have one staff person. Okay, they're not using a system to begin with, but they have a staff person going to a website, printing out deck pages every single day and filing them in a paper file. That person could be making them money instead of costing them money. So you really have to, you've just got to get past that scarcity, short-sighted mentality and look at big picture, which is, I know, sometimes difficult to do, but it's definitely for the success of your business. You have to do it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's see. I think that Stephen, did I ask you about this question?
So not yet. I'll be brief.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is, it's kind of could be the number one mismanaged or unmanaged emotion, right? It's just that fear of scarcity, and the challenge is that's not only in the business, right? That goes home as well. So, I have so much respect for agents out there because it is such a challenge. But I think, it just goes back to the processes again, breaking things down by the numbers. Bill mentioned it, and I know, Billy, you really beat it to death. There's the processes, you plug in the numbers and do the work, and it happens. So it's just getting over that initial hump. But yeah, it's a challenge, but it's really plays to that emotion and process piece.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so what can stop you from adding 10 million revenue to your insurance agency? Number one, an agency culture that's built for service, not for growth. Okay, built for service, not for growth. Two, focusing on low revenue sales products. Guys, you're not going to get to $10 million revenue selling renters policies. Next, a low amount of total sales in the agency. You guys are so busy retaining customers, which is one of the 5 ways you generate revenue, to the point that you're not selling anything. So you have a low amount of total sales. Next is a low volume of effective marketing and prospecting. I hate, and this is just me, I hate when I hear, oh, we get all of our business from referrals. And then I look at your production and you wrote 5 policies. Okay, yeah, 100% of your 5 policies came from referrals. But God, how long can you survive like that? So low volume of effective marketing. Admin tasks consuming the agent's time and activities. Guys, weak salespeople hang out in admin. Trust me, write that down, stamp it on your forehead, write it on your leg, put it on your arm, do whatever you got to do to remember that. Weak salespeople hang out in admin. So that means if you hire somebody and they're supposedly sales, but every time you ask them why there are no sales, they tell you, oh, I had to fix this and I had to fix that and I had to take care of this and I had to take care of that. First and foremost, you got bad processes, or you wouldn't have all those damn fires that you're putting out. But second of all, they're avoiding sales, and they avoid it by hanging out in admin. Next, lack of effective KPIs per role and position. People walk in the agency, they unlock the door, whatever happens, happens, and then they lock the door, go home, and do it again the next day. They don't go in with a plan. They don't go in with a set agenda saying, these are the things that make revenue. These are my primary task. If the world were to freeze over tomorrow, these are the things that have to get done. They don't know their KPIs. Lack of consistent agency processes and tasks. Everybody in the agency is doing it a different way. Ineffective use of technology. Oh my God, Hawksoft is absolutely amazing, amazing. But yet, probably 80% of the people who use Hawksoft have no clue how to do it. They don't know what buttons to push to make money. They don't know how to make their life easier. They don't know how to make their life better. They just know this is, I make a note here and I store data here. End of story. If I need a customer's record, I look it up here. But they don't know how to use the system to make money. And then what is the catalyst behind all of this? What is the piece that's missing for most of this? lack of consistent accountability and spot checking. See, agency owner, when you're the #1 producer in your agency, you are not the #1 leader in your agency. Let me say that again. When you're the #1 producer in your agency, you're not the #1 leader in your agency, because a leader only has 3 roles: hiring, training, and accountability. So if you don't have time to hire right, you don't have time to train right, and you don't have time to hold people accountable, it's phenomenal that you're a phenomenal producer, but you are not the agency leader. And some of you need to give up that production and train other people to be producing, train other people to produce, and you need to get back to leadership. All right, enough of the little come to Jesus meeting part of this. Let's talk about actual numbers now. All right. You're going to have 3 effort levels of implementing a process. You're going to have best effort, better than most, and better than nothing. This is what happens when you get ready to implement a process in your agency. Best effort. Some people are going to give their absolute best effort. The agency tries to implement each step and task of a process in the exact order that it's recommended or taught. Then there's better than most. This is when the agency selects 3 or more steps of a task of a process, and they work to implement the selected task, right? And they try to stay in the order, but they're more concerned with, is it comfortable? Is it comfortable, right? And then there's better than nothing. This is the agency selects 1 or 2 steps. They try to implement the task. They don't care about the order. They just say, well, at least I got this done, right? They feel like that getting something is better than nothing. People who give their best effort, the agencies that give their best effort are going to get the most. They're going to get the most production. They're going to get the biggest result. Better than most, they're going to be average. Better than nothing, you probably aren't going to have anything stick in your agency. So let's see, when we talk about these numbers, are you going to give your best effort? Are you going to be better than most? Or are you going to be better than nothing? Let's talk about more math formulas. Bill brought it up. Numbers don't lie. Emotional people don't track their numbers, or they lie about their numbers. Let me say that again for those of you on the phone. The numbers don't lie. It's just emotional people, emotional agency leaders don't track their numbers, or they lie about their numbers. So what are the numbers we're talking about? We're talking about determining the revenue per policy and the number of policies the agency needs to write to reach 10 million in revenue. We're talking about determining the number of cold leads you'll need to reach your goals. And we're talking about the number of warm leads that you're going to need to reach your goals. So first, we need to figure out our revenue. What is our average revenue per average sale? In this example, we're going to say $2,500,000 in revenue. And if we divide that by our total sales that we have, that's going to give us a revenue of $4,166. Now, you can do this by line, you can do this by product, you can do this by everything. So, David, in your agency on commercial, what is your average revenue per sale for a general liability policy?
Well, that's a tough one for me to calculate because we either represent you or we don't. We don't have anything at all in our agency that's a single policy.
Okay.
But I would tell you that the average for GL based on the class codes that we go after and the size of account is probably roughly right around 5 to 10K in revenue. Our average account size is 25.
But knowing you the way I know you, you could, if we ran a report, you could pretty much break down by category, by SIC code, what your expected revenue is when someone tries to go after that deal. Is that
100%.
right?
Yeah, we project all of that, and for the business that we've written, we use Hawksoft, so we have all of that reporting capability.
Perfect. And so, Linda, speaking of Hawksoft, is there a way in Hawksoft for a Hawksoft user to figure out their revenue per sale?
Yeah, in our agency intelligence reporting suite that we have, it's a one-click reporting suite, and they can quickly and easily drill into that, just like David said. You start with kind of the big picture, and then you drill into the details. I can show that during my time with later, or anytime you want me to share a desktop is fine.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Well, what time is your presentation?
I'm at 10:40.
Yeah, so you're still within our second hour, so that's perfect. Perfect. Okay. Next, how many average sales will it take to make 10 million revenue? So on our example here, we're looking at 10 million divided by 4166, since that was our revenue per sale. That means we need 2,400 individual sales, right? This is what Bill Rice was talking about. We need 2,400 individual sales based on our example. So what's our lead to close ratio? How many leads did we actually need in order to generate those 600 sales? So what we do is we take our total sales, which is that 600, and we divide it by our total leads. See, here's a problem that I run into a lot when I'm asking people to figure out this formula. They don't track their leads. They only track their sales. So they don't have a clue how many internet leads they had to buy. They don't have a clue how many postcards they mailed. They don't have a clue how many emails they sent out, because they only track their sales. They don't track their leads. But in this scenario, we're going to say you had 600 total sales divided by 4,800 total leads. And so if you multiply that by 100, that's going to give you a close ratio of 12.5%. So Bill, this is what you were talking about, right? About if they know their leads and they know their sales and they know their close ratio, then they'll know how many leads to order. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And we use this exact formula. And again, depending on what you know, sales, or when they don't track their leads, and we just divide by that close ratio. But it's important to do this math, figure out what that close ratio is, and then we can kind of tune it depending on what you're doing, right? Because if you're just doing calls, it's one thing. If you're layering in emails and texts and some of those other things, it's other things. You've got virtual assistants warming things up. So knowing all this math in those different sort of circumstances is super powerful when it comes to figuring out how much you need to invest in leads, or how many leads you need to get in your database, right?
Excellent.
Hey, Billy,
Excellent.
Can I add something real quick?
Yeah, please jump in there, Dave.
So one of the biggest things that I have a problem with when I engage with an agency is a couple of things. Number one, they don't have a defined sales process categorically. They don't have different stages of the buyer's journey mapped out. So it's very difficult for them, or impossible for them, to monitor where the drop-off is in each stage. So we have producers develop their business plan when they come in. But the issue is that agency principals, by and large, to your point, are monitoring revenue when they should be monitoring behavior. Behavior is the precursor for where revenue is going to come from. And the reason we have the producer do the business plan, to your point earlier, is it removes the emotion from the entire process. If you have a producer at the beginning of the year not just tell you what they're going to do, but do the mathematical calculations to show you how they're going to do it, if you get a quarter in and they haven't hit their numbers, you can go back and look at their activity and say, well, here's why, but you should be doing that in real time before you get to the end of the quarter and they haven't hit their number. Let them tell you what they're going to do. Let them tell you how you're going to do it. And as the leader of the organization, your job is to hold them accountable to the plan that they have put in front of you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, I have this saying, I don't track the outcome. Right? I don't care about the outcome. What I care about is the process. Because if I track the process, I'm going to eventually get the outcome I want, but I can always reverse engineer the outcome by following the process. And like David said, find out where the drop-off happened. Is it that you'll make the call, but you won't follow up? Is it that you'll follow up, but you don't know how to close? Is it that you know how to close, but you don't do enough activity to get the amount of closes that you need? I won't know if I don't track any of that. So perfect on that. Next is lead to close percentage. So based on our current lead to close percentage, how many leads must be generated over the next 3 to 5 years? So in this particular case, if I wanted 10 million in revenue, I'd have to have 2,400 sales. I've got a close percentage of 12.5%. So that means I need 19,200 leads. Now, to some people, if you're operating from scarcity, 19,000 leads, oh my God, there's no way in the hell I could ever come up with 19,000 leads. But if you're operating from abundance and you're like, you've got a budget for this, 19,000 leads is not that much. So let's go to Troy and Bill. I want both of you involved on this one. Troy and Bill, 19,000 leads. How many agencies would you say actually buy, let's say 20,000, keep it good. How many agencies actually buy 20,000 leads from you guys in a year?
Probably about 50 maybe.
Now, would you find that those are the 50 biggest clients that you have?
Probably, yeah, sure.
Because they're buying 20,000 leads. Now, Bill, are they just swagging it, sophisticated wild ass guess, and they're just, buying a bunch of leads because they can? Or do you think they actually applied some math to that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think you can tell the difference, right? So you have some that will come in, the ones that are not applying math are usually come in there and probably overbuy in any particular moment, right? They'll come in and they'll buy. And these are relatively cheap, right? So they'll buy 2,000 leads, right? But then they'll never come back because they're frustrated. They don't have a system, right? But the ones that have done the math and are consistent are probably some of the larger ones, on the revenue side, are the ones that are coming in and buying, consistent. This math is like right on target with what we see. They're coming in, they're buying 500 leads a month consistently over and over because they're going to feed it into a system. They know that system is going to convert ultimately at that 12.5%. And then they're coming back and they're restocking the pond, right? And so those are the people you can tell are doing the math. Those are the people, our average lead order is about 300 leads, right? So there's a lot of people that are doing the math. Some people maybe not doing the math, sort of guessing, coming a little short. And then you see those that just buy a big slug and never come back. But the ones that you see coming in every single month, buying that 500 leads, putting it into the system, turning it into revenue and coming back, those are the ones that are doing the math, and those are the biggest agencies.
Awesome. Linda and Hawksoft, is there a way or there are reports that can help agents with these numbers?
Sure, absolutely. In Agency Intelligence, we have, again, a one-click reporting suite called Sales and Retention. Where they can manage their sales pipeline. They can classify those leads as leads or prospects. And I think there's a big difference between a lead and a prospect, only because a lead means, hey, I met somebody at an event and I have their business card. I don't know much about them. As I start developing that relationship, I change them to prospect. And under prospect, I might have many different subcategories, like, are they in discovery? Where are they at in my sales process, so I can track them? And then, of course, from Hawksoft, you have the ability to do blast communications. So you might choose a group of leads that you're working with and just start emailing them, batch emailing them. So, information, education's always good, soliciting there as well. So definitely in Hawksoft, you can manage those leads.
Okay, perfect. All right. So now we've got all that information. Now we need to go back and re-engineer it and go, well, how many actual leads do I need? See, there's a difference between a cold lead and a warm lead. And this is based on agents. This is based on industry average. The average in the industry for cold leads, right, from lead to close, is 3%. 3%. Some are worse if you've got bad salespeople. Some may be a little bit higher, but you're not going to get too much from this. So in this particular case, let's say we were doing homeowners policies, and we have a goal to write 250 homeowners policies this year. So we divide our annual sales goal by 0.03, right? So that's an average close rate for a cold lead. So that means that tells us that we need 8,333 leads to even get close to that 3% and close to that 250 sales. Now, if we took that and divided it by 12, since there's 12 months in a year, then that means we're going to need 695 leads a month. Now, there are good leads and there are bad leads. If I'm buying aged leads specific to homeowners in a specific demographic area, then I consider that a pretty good lead, right? Because as you'll hear, an age lead is really just a real-time lead that probably didn't get worked. Okay, and I'll let Troy and Bill tell you about all the age lead stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm telling me, the math tells me I need 695. Now, if it's a warm lead, meaning it's a referral, or it's sent from one of my good referral sources, not just necessarily a referral partner, but really good referral sources that the person's warmed up before they ever get to me, right? Maybe they saw a video. I consider if you watched a video, you filled out a form, you gave me some information, I consider you a warm lead. You're just not a cold lead anymore. You took some activity, you took some action. So you're considered a warm lead. If we take that same warm lead, now all of a sudden it's a 30% close rate, right? Warm leads close at 30%, where cold leads close at 3%. So that means now instead of 8,333 warm leads, I need 833. So if I've got referral partners, if I've got other people sending me business, if I've got some really good lead sources out there, I don't need as many. So I'm operating from a place of abundance, but also from a place of efficiency. When you swag it, sophisticated, wild ass guess, and throw stuff against the wall, that's when you end up overspending. That's what you end up going crazy, right? Now, if I took that 833 and I divided that by 12, I only need 69 leads a month. So David, let's go to your business. As an agent, can you develop some referral partners that can send you 69 leads a month?
Absolutely.
Okay. And can you talk about this a little bit more, the difference in the warm lead and the cold lead and the goals, and in your own words? And I'm asking David because he's a sitting agent, a very successful sitting agent. So that's why I'm asking him.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we do, you can get paralysis by analysis when you start breaking down the sales cycle. So we have kept it very, very simple in my agency, and it makes it easy to identify where we need to drill down when that time comes. So for us, a lead is a lead is a lead. It's a name, it's an email maybe, but it's basically just a list that we have created, or we have purchased a group of leads to put into our marketing system and allow it to work. Once we have had interaction with somebody, we call them a suspect, whether we go and we knock on the door and cold call, or we're telemarketing to them, or they have gone to our website and filled out a form to download something. We have had some level of interaction and some level of interest. So we classify them as a suspect. The next jump is the most important to me. Lead to suspect is that very, very small percentage that you mentioned. But when you go from suspect to prospect, that means that person has given us some level of information that we have to act on and go back and report our findings to them. Whether in commercial, it's a workers' comp experience mod analysis, or if it's homeowners and they simply send us deck pages to review and give them a summary of what we would do to improve, or even to quote for them, we have gotten information that we have to act on and report. And from there, it goes to either closed won or closed lost. That's those are the stages that we operate in. Now, I can look at an individual producer based on how we have it set up in our CRM and know if somebody's having a hard time going from suspect to prospect, they're not going and delivering the value proposition the right way to get that person to give us the information we need to go back and report. And I can go on ride-alongs, I can listen to the telemarketing calls and help them tweak their scripting or whatever else. But I know that there's a problem because we should have a certain percentage. But the beauty of having all of this set up, just like what Billy said, is you have a historical track record of doing these things in your agency. You don't have to worry about industry benchmarks anymore because you have a track record of your own numbers. And so after we have a producer do a business plan in my agency, year number 1, year number 2, we're going to let them use a little bit more of their actual real world numbers to get the different conversion factors for each stage of the sales process. And by the time they've been in for 5 years, we've got a really accurate idea of how many raw leads they have to end up with X number of dollars. But we start it with one question that's important to every single producer that we bring in, and that is, how much do you want to make this year? If they can articulate how much they want to make, they can back into all of this and make the top of the funnel lead number whatever it needs to be to hit the income level. Put it on them, make them tell you what they want, and then show you how they're going to go get it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now for our members, I know you guys, I want to make sure I'm showing you guys this. You don't have to try to figure out, oh, Billy said something about these numbers and something about this math, and I'm not sure what he meant. Guys, we've got in 2 places, we've already got the spreadsheets already laid out for you. So you can go into module 1, okay, under module 1. I'm going to click here on module 1. You guys should, yeah, you can see my screen. And if you scroll down on module 1, you'll go to our completion tracker, and you're going to see right there, complete the 10 million agency questionnaire and how much money are you leaving on the table math formula. So that's under module 1, but we also have it under marketing. So let's come back up here, home, and if you just typed in main, M-A-I-N, for our main marketing page, go to the marketing page here. You're going to scroll down, go to the completion tracker. Completion tracker is our step-by-step telling you what to do, when to do, how to do, and how long it's going to take. And you're going to see agency math formula spreadsheet. Now, what does that spreadsheet look like? I have a copy of it open here. All you have to do, this is just a spreadsheet, guys. There's nothing amazing about it. And Hawksoft can do this, and you know, you probably got some other tools in your agency can do this, but I always want to make sure you guys have something simple. So under this, let's say you went out and you bought 5,000 leads from an Age Lead Store, and you worked it. And then you start tracking, how many actual contacts did we make? How many quotes did we get out of those 5,000? How many sales did we get? What premium did we generate? How much revenue did we generate? Well, once you fill out this top line, everything else fills in for you. So it'll tell you what your contact to lead percentage is, your quote to close. It'll tell you all of that. And then you put your revenue sales goals in. You say, well, Billy, I want to make $1 million this year. Just like David said, got to know what the hell you want to make. So I want to make $1 million in sales. Based on my numbers, I need to make 88 sales, right? Now, based on that, it tells me how many leads I'm going to need. So to make these 88 sales, right, I'm going to need a number of leads to reach revenue goals. I'm going to need 2,000 of these leads to reach my goal, right? To make sure that I have that. Now, I don't think I plugged the numbers in properly here. No, I didn't. So let's do 88 sales. I'm not going to get caught up in the math. The math works. Just throw the numbers in across the top and it'll do this. Now, this is just some easy to do stuff, but Hawksoft has a totally deep technology tool that'll do this for you. And I'm pretty sure that Art over at MarbleBox, you guys track numbers too, right? I don't want to get too far ahead. 1010, who's supposed to come on at 1010, Melissa?
David.
David, okay, perfect. So MarbleBox, you guys can help an agent track these numbers and leads and all that kind of stuff as well, correct, Art?
Absolutely correct, Billy. Because we work on a range of different management systems, be it Hawksoft or be it any Waterford product or applied product, we have worked in the reporting sections of these management systems for so long, we can easily run these numbers for agencies and present actionable data for them.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Guys, let me say this again for those of you that jumped on a little bit later. I picked who I felt was the best of the best, and I have them on. Understand, I know that all of you don't use Hawksoft. I know that all of you don't use MarbleBox. I know that all of you don't use the Age Lead Store, but I'm not running a vendor fair. I'm not going to have 20 different vendors trying to tell you what to do, right? I'm going to show you one way, one method, one process, and then you take that process and tweak it for whatever tools you're using. But one of the things that I've learned is that if I don't see success, then I can't mimic success. So it's just like with me in golf, and Steve has been there with me almost through this whole journey since I started playing golf. I watched everybody. I saw who did what, and I said, okay, how do I mimic this? And then I picked 1 or 2 people, and I modeled my game after those 2 people. On the male side, it's John Rahm. I modeled my game after John Rahm because he has a short backswing just like I do. He generates a lot of power through the swing just like I do, so I'm good to go. On the female side, it was Danielle Kang. because she had a similar smooth stroke to what I thought I wanted to represent. Sometimes instead of having 900 different ways of doing something, you need to just pick one damn way and lock into that. It's kind of like religion. You don't need to go to 20 different churches. Pick one damn church and follow that message until you feel like you've outgrown it. That's the best way I can tell you.